we will have Joshua in our country in February. Then there is the big fight, one of the greatest fights
in the world. Like, you can't sit around and wait for Fury. The Usyk fight is not materializing, and I don't think any fans want to see that. So, in a way, this could be Joshua's final fight or final meaningful fight. It's going to happen in 5 weeks.
That there's a huge opportunity for enormous amounts of money to be generated around a fight that really has no integrity behind it in terms of as a fight, but in terms as a media spectacle and entertainment opportunity.
Turkey ALALSHIKH criticized Anthony Joshua for even considering a fight with Jake Paul, calling it a strange decision. He explained that he is planning one of the biggest boxing events next February with Joshua involved. But he did not reveal who the opponent will be. Tyson Fury is possible, but ALALSHIKH refused to confirm anything, keeping fans guessing. He also said Joshua already has a fight set for 2026, showing that every step...
And Anthony Joshua this year, do you think?
As a fan, of course, I want to see it.
Do you personally want to see it?
Yeah, as a fan, but you need first of all to be sure they are focused.
Eddie Hearn, who has guided Joshua's career for many years, speaks about the subject with both optimism and caution. He says every major decision for Joshua must match the long-term plan he and Turkey ALALSHIKH have built. Since ALALSHIKH is now one of the most powerful figures in global boxing, Hearn believes ALALSHIKH is the key to securing mega events, especially the long-awaited Joshua versus Tyson Fury showdown. To him, every move must fit the bigger picture, not be a quick reaction to online hype. Hearn admits the money in a Joshua-Paul fight...
I mean, when this fight was first mentioned by Jake Paul, I kind of laughed and thought that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then, you know, meetings with His Excellency last week, who I think realises the commercial size of that fight and that opportunity. So if Jake Paul was mad enough to do it, I think Anthony would probably say yes as well and do everybody a favour and end it all, you know, for Mr. Paul in boxing. So, like I said, not really a fight we've been targeting, but if it's presented to...
Tyson Fury, famous for his strong opinions, rejects the idea that Jake Paul could beat Anthony Joshua in a real fight. He believes the size and strength differences are so big that any result favoring Paul would immediately seem suspicious. Fury says Joshua's power should be far too much for Paul, and if the fight ends strangely, fans will question whether it was genuine. His view reflects a worry many traditional boxing fans share. The sport's reputation is fragile, and
They can't. Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way, you know...
You give me a headline there, by the way.
If it goes any other way, you know it's fucking fixed, don't you?
The argument grows louder when voices from outside boxing join in. Jamie O'Hara, known for being direct, questions why Jake Paul should even be allowed to face Anthony Joshua. He believes Paul's achievements, while impressive for someone who started as a celebrity, do not put him anywhere near the level required to fight a former elite heavyweight champion. To O'Hara, this matchup shows how fame, social media influence...
This one, because Anthony Joshua is a two-time world champion. Jake Paul's a YouTuber and doesn't deserve the right to be in a ring with Anthony
Well, don't buy the fight then.
It's dangerous. I mean, it's a dangerous fight. We saw what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. This is a fight.
I know, but what I'm
People
saying
are going in there, their health is at risk.
But the only reason they're
put someone in there in a ring...
I know, Jay.
And you say, the only reason we're doing it is for money. That don't sit right with me.
Fine, then don't buy it.
We've seen boxers die who got punched in the face. Fine. You want to make some money. Eddie Hearn, all that matchroom, they're going to make a fortune, right? Fine. Jake Paul's going to make a fortune. Anthony Joshua makes a fortune. I'm worried for Jake Paul getting seriously hurt. You are putting an amateur boxer in a ring with a...
Sonnen adds a different point by questioning the legitimacy of the entire situation. He says the hype around the rumored fight rose too quickly without any official confirmation from promoters or boxing officials. Sonnen believes the reaction is part of modern media culture, where rumors spread instantly and people treat speculation as fact. He says Joshua has always represented discipline, structure, and professionalism. So moving toward a novelty fight feels out of character for him. Sonnen's doubt isn't toward the fighters, but toward a...
Done, right? Isn't that what we were all told? And I had reached out to Jake directly. But he didn't get back to me. I did get a response, but it was like, you know the response where somebody's like buying some time, or they just want to acknowledge, like they give you a receipt. I'm in receipt of your text message. They can give you an emoji or something like this, or sometimes there's even the automatic. I'm trying to remember what I got, but you can get like the automatic. I'll call you later. You know those? So even though I had said, hey, I'm looking for a confirmation of this fight, and he did respond, as I reflect back on that, it's like, well, he didn't respond confirming the fight. So who did confirm the fight? So I went to Helwani, and Helwani thought that it was confirmed, but he was a little lighter in the language than what I thought I remember hearing. And there's a number of boxing guys just saying, hey, that's not going to happen. And they had a few details, one of which was being Florida. And the Florida Commission would probably be open to something like this, particularly under the clause of exhibition. And then we'd all have to kind of hear, well, what are those rules and what are those stipulations? But that's reasonable to work with. But we haven't been able to get a confirmation from the Florida Commission. And now we're actually getting boxing guys on the inner circle. We're hearing from some British guys, from some fellow comrades to Joshua that said he wouldn't do that fight. He just wouldn't do that fight. That people would lose respect for him. That he has carried British boxing. This was one guy talking, but the guy said that Joshua has carried British boxing for 2 decades. And that while carrying British boxing on his back, if he was to go over and do a spoof fight against a YouTuber, now I don't look at Jake Paul that way. I look at him as a badass. I understand how greatly he is outmatched. I understand the lack of experience in comparison to Joshua. Believe me, I get it. But I don't dismiss him as a YouTuber, right? Look at him as a guy that went to the distance with...
Another fighter who has experienced highs and lows. Tyron Woodley offers a more balanced opinion. He says confidence is a strong weapon, and a fighter who truly believes in himself can surprise anyone. Woodley warns Joshua not to take Paul lightly just because of their huge differences in size, skill, and background. Joshua is expected to dominate, but a fight can still be unpredictable. Ignoring the chance of shocking moments can be dangerous. Woodley's view reminds people that
I mean, to be honest, when a fighter has belief in themselves, I never took Jake lightly. A lot of guys like, oh, he a YouTuber, he a Disney kid, but he does a good job of putting the smoke and mirrors up. He doesn't have anything limiting him from training, nutrition, training partners, coaches, and when you believe in yourself, and you're an athlete, and you can put those hours into the gym, that's a dangerous person to go against. And you look at Anthony, he may be taking them lightly, When you have somebody that's smaller than you, that's more agile than you and moving around, we don't know how Anthony's going to deal with that fight. Of course, with the boxing, the skill and experience has got to go with Joshua. But with Jake...
Look what AJ done to Francis Ngannou, right? I'll put that to you. Do you not see that happening the same way with Jake Paul?
I mean, anybody can get caught with a punch. I got caught with a punch. Francis got hit with some shit, to be honest. So we didn't see a full fight. We didn't see, an exchange. We didn't see like we saw with Tyson Fury where he, lasted most of the fight. So it's hard to judge off of that one. And they're such different fighters.
Some analysts focus on the technical issues, especially the weight gap between Joshua and Paul, because their natural sizes are extremely different. Many experts feel the fight should be an exhibition for safety reasons. But the current plan seems to be a full professional fight with all official rules. These query conditions, as some call them, include factors like weight, glove size, rounds, judges, and rule details that ensure fairness. Treating such an...
And I can't believe this is leaving my mouth. Anthony Joshua is going to be fighting Jake Paul. Now, this isn't even an exhibition bout. It's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to be in December. And Jake Paul, if Anthony Joshua loses to Jake Paul, then that will not make any sort of sense whatsoever. Because on an athletic level, an experience level, a skill level, Anthony Joshua is several levels above Jake Paul. So surely this is going to be an exhibition bout. surely this is going to be, there's surely going to be some shenanigans here. Because if Jake Paul gets into a real boxing match with Anthony Joshua, he's going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, there's no point in me, like, I don't even need to break it down. What do you want me to break down here? And this is an easy payday for Anthony Joshua. And you know what? Fair play to him. People are going to criticise Anthony Joshua for fighting Jake Paul, but if he's really going to be fighting Jake Paul, which I don't think he is, then bro, he can do whatever he wants to him. Literally. But then just imagine. Oh, it's just crazy to think about. Fair play to Jake Paul though, if this is a real boxing match. If I see exhibition attached to this, we'll know it's a sham. However, if I see that this is a real fight...
Despite the backlash, Jake Paul's supporters argued that he has slowly earned respect. After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Paul showed his fans he can compete with fighters who have real professional experience. Experts say Paul challenges well-known fighters because they offer real recognition and difficulty. By calling out Joshua, Paul is chasing the biggest night of his career. His path may be unusual.
It's about what Jake Paul does. And the reality is, there are 2 mega fights he's came very close to making in the last 12 months, and they weren't against Anthony Joshua, or big motherfucking cruiserweights. They were against men smaller than him. Canelo Alvarez, which was fucking days away from being made, and Gervonta Davis, who, if he hadn't have lost his last, or drawn his last fight rather, that fight would probably be made for this end of this year already. Both of them are mega money fights. Yes, they're much more skilled fighters than him, but he's got a big size advantage. You look at, a mega size advantage on Tank, even though Tank is, an amazing boxer. Canelo was looking older. He's probably thinking, fuck it. I'm in there with Canelo. Why the fuck not? It's calculated gambling, that. Yeah, you might still get your ass kicked, but at least you can have imagine a path to victory. And even if it is delusional, it's not Anthony Joshua delusional. The biggest fight for the most amount of money is his true goal. But when he talks about the world titles, it's more of a, why not? I mean, if I fucking get through that and I fucking still got my life intact, then why not roll the dice against a top guy? Badu Jack, for example, is a world champion. He is very over the hill. There's a fight I can imagine him maybe in a couple of years going, fuck it. If he's still champion, why not? But with the killers like
Simon, Jordan gives one of the strongest arguments against Joshua taking this fight. Known for his sharp and strict views, Jordan says Joshua should not accept a matchup that adds nothing to his legacy. He believes boxing must maintain standards. When a former heavyweight champion entertains a challenge from a YouTuber, it harms the sport's competitive structure. Jordan argues that money alone should not drive the decision.
A fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul in December. What does it tell us, Simon? Does it tell us more, as I said in the introduction, about the falling star of AJ or the rising one of Jake Paul?
It tells you that there's a huge opportunity for enormous amounts of money to be generated around a fight that really has no integrity behind it in terms of as a fight, but in terms as a media spectacle and entertainment opportunity. You've got a very talented YouTuber that's built himself into a massive influence with huge following, and you've got a former 2-time champion of the world that operates at a very high level of engagement. Whether he's a high level of performer anymore is a different discussion. So it becomes about how much can this fight generate, how many eyes on the prize. I mean, I spoke to his very close friend Michael Jarman about this very fight about 3 or 4 months ago, and he was like, "Oh, what do you think?" I said, "What difference does it make? Oh, it would potentially jeopardize his legacy. His legacy's sealed. You cannot undo the fact. Whatever you think of Anthony Joshua,
It might damage it.
I don't think so. What it will do is increase his bank balance. But I don't think. I think in the great. I mean, it didn't damage Muhammad Ali's reputation to go in with a sumo wrestler, did it?
No. But after, when Joshua was at his peak, Simon, if I had said to you there and then, do you know what? Maybe in December 2025, Anthony Joshua will fight a YouTuber.
This is the entertainment business, and Anthony Joshua is an entertainer, and you can't undo the fact that he won the world heavyweight championship twice. And he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment. And if an opportunity is presented to him and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night.
Others point out the strange pattern in Jake Paul's career. Before calling out Joshua, he challenged Francis Ngannou, a fighter with extreme power far beyond Paul's past opponents. Even though Paul keeps targeting big names, the skill gap between him and the fighters he mentions remains huge. Observers say Paul changes targets often, making people doubt whether he will stick to anything he says. This is why Eddie Hearn responds carefully to Paul's claims. Jake may be ambitious, but
it would be something unique. It would be something incredible. It's the same reason that I would be intrigued by a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, although I would never advise Jake Paul to take a Anthony Joshua fight. I wouldn't advise him to take a Francis Ngannou fight either, because as much as Anthony is far better, which we saw when they actually fought, Joshua slept Francis Ngannou quicker than me after 2 melatonin. I mean, it was quick, fast, in a hurry, completely dominant. But we also saw Francis Ngannou go toe-to-toe with the heavyweight champion of the world at that time. Yes, he was out of shape. We understand that. But Tyson Fury on that night got the shock of his life when Francis Ngannou not only went toe-to-toe, but put him down and danced on him. To this day, I think that fight could have gone Francis's way. Point being, there are levels to this shit. Not just in boxing, but in combat in general. And the size difference Francis would have over Jake would be incredible, but it would have been a great event. And a lot of people would have tuned in. Francis, though, is saying that's not happening.
How can they go from like Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? Like, I mean, Gervonta Davis is a fantastic boxer, but and is a one-shot knockout artist. But come on, like the weight different and everything, it make no sense.
It's a good point. I mean, obviously, Francis is right about the weight difference, but it's a good point in general for what do you do next? Jake has sparred guys like Shakur Stevenson, Ray Ford, Montana Love to try to prepare for Tank Davis. And even if you book this fight on December 12th or December 19th, that's still a completely different fight than you were going into. Completely different matchup, size-wise, skill-wise, the things that you're going to...
The discussion expands when former champion Tim Bradley talks about the confusion around Paul's choices. Bradley remembers how Paul's planned fight with Gervonta Davis collapsed, causing major financial losses for broadcasters, sponsors, and organizers. He says this is why many in the sport treat Paul's announcements carefully. When a fighter with massive online influence suddenly walks away from confirmed plans, it creates big problems for the industry. Bradley believes boxing cannot run smoothly if major events fall apart suddenly.
Think real quick. You gotta be the dumbest dude, in the history of boxing, bro. $40 million, dog, down the drain. You gotta be the dumbest dude I've ever seen in the history of boxing, bro. Seriously. I'm like, $40 million, bro. Wealth. Literally wealth, bro. Going down the drain. I don't understand it. I can't make the... I don't understand it. But I'll tell you this. You know, MVP promotions, whatever the hell y'all call it, most valuable promotions, shit, more like rookie promotions. Yeah, more like rookie promotions. You didn't know what you were dealing with. You had no clue. This has always been down Tank's alley, man. Now, let me just say one thing. You know, you innocent until proven guilty. Ain't no charges been pending on Tank at all. You know, but I'm just saying. This has always came up within the last few fights of Tank's career. Yeah, it has. And MVP, more like RP, rookie promotions, yeah, y'all should have had a backup plan. You should have had a backup fighter. Yup. You live and you learn. Oh, absolutely. You live and you learn. You should have had a plan B, just in case this man, Tank Davis, don't show up. Yeah. That's what you should have done. Now you're looking like idiot.
Chris, Algieri says, returning after a long break requires timing and confidence. A high-profile but manageable fight could help Joshua rebuild his rhythm. Facing an opponent far below his usual level does not improve his legacy, but it might help him sharpen his skills and regain his competitive mindset. However,
it's going to be a fight. What are we talking here? Like, it's going to be an exhibition? No, it's a fight. You're a heavyweight. You're calling out heavyweights. You're calling out a heavyweight. You're calling out Anthony Joshua, former world champion. You're calling him out on short notice. It's a fight. You're going to wear 10-ounce gloves and you're going to fight 10 rounds, and that's what it is. I don't understand any idea of anything else. Oh, it's going to be 8-2s. Is it going to be 15-ounce gloves? What the hell are we doing? This is boxing. You want to fight a real guy? You're fighting a real guy, which I am very respectful and I respect the hell out of Jake Paul if he does step in the ring with Anthony Joshua. No matter what happens, kid's got balls of steel, and I applaud you.
Well, the reason I say we don't know yet because Jake Paul has fought in his last fight with Gervonta Davis was going to be an exhibition. They had to do that because of the weight difference. This is still a weight difference here. I mean, Anthony Joshua